So I think one of the best ways to test out the DJI Mini 4K is to test it out, obviously, in all different types of weather. The previous flight I did obviously in very good conditions, sunny, calm, almost no wind. So on this particular occasion, I decided I'd go to the northwest edge of Shield Forest in what was very murky, low-lying cloud. A very fine mist in the air, obviously, and low-lying cloud cover which kicked in at roughly 75 meters altitude. But obviously this time I recorded in 4K instead of 1080p, which I'd done on the previous flight, just using the default settings. This footage that you can see here now is 4K, and the setting is normal mode, and I think the image quality is, despite the conditions being quite murky. I'm flying here at about 50 meters altitude. I think obviously the clarity is pretty strong in actual fact. It's a very easy to use machine. It's pretty much what you see is what you get, really, or plug and play, using all the hackneyed phrases I possibly can without actually living in Hackney, thank goodness. Where one really wouldn't want to use a drone of any description, I would say. However, the scenery here is far more beautiful and far more interesting in actual fact. And the wildlife is far more friendly, I would say, based on experience. And you can see there, almost centre of frame, is a red kite, bird of prey. Of course, you have to be careful of these when flying a drone because they're notorious for attacking drones. They perceive them as some sort of invader in their airspace. And so obviously I didn't want to get too close to it for obvious reasons. I don't want the drone attacked and ravaged and mistaken for a blackbird, which it simply isn't. But yeah, ultimately I think for the price, which is like just short of £280, I mean, what's not to like, really? That's my honest opinion. There really is not really much that is wrong with this particular unit, other than I would say the battery. Now these were quite trying testing conditions actually, although it doesn't come out here in the actual footage. The wind was actually quite strong, and I got repeated warnings to the controller that obviously occasionally to drop altitude, and that the wind was quite high and fairly dangerous for the drone, and several times a return to home message, which I did a couple of times, basically making a judgment call, and but ultimately I just left it in the air and moved it around slightly, went up in altitude, so I'm hitting around about 65 meters altitude. You can see it getting much murkier. So we went up to about 70, almost 75 meters altitude, and now we're into the low-lying cloud cover, which most people contend is the result of days and days of cloud seeding. Quite frankly, Geo-Engineering. I have no doubt myself that it is. A friend of mine went flying in his paraglider just the other day and went above the dense cloud at about 85 meters, and at 100 meters was above it into clear sunshine. It covers the entire country. It's something I intend to explore more in actual fact with this drone, which has a maximum altitude of 500 meters. So the next flight I'm going to do is to put it to the test and try and take it above the cloud cover into a clear firmament to see exactly what's happening there if I possibly can. But returning to terra firma, which is where the drone's coming right now, the scenery is just absolutely lush. It's just a great experience, and I highly recommend the DJI Mini 4K. As I said, and I can only reiterate, what's not to like?